have got Wellens at fullback, then it's Gardler, Gidley, Tallow and Melly, Roby for the hamstring injury struck Leon Price and Long. Forwards, Fozzard, Cunningham the skipper, Graham, Gilmore, Wilkin and Flannery. And on the bench, Hargreaves, Clough, Farsavalou and the exciting young Kyle Eastman, the coach Daniel Anderson. Now the Warriors, Mathers at fullback, Phelps, Goulding, Carmont and Richards. Barrett's the skipper, Luluai is his half-back partner. Forwards here, Fielden, Hyam and Coley, Hanson, Bailey and Tompkins. And on the bench, Paliacina, Colbon, Prescott and Smith. The coach is Brian Noble. Well, they have their sights set on a fourth-placed finish. A first home playoff tie in 4 years it would be. They may have to settle for sixth, and if they end up with sixth, it'll mean a third trip to Perpignan. Out they come, the Wigan Warriors. Last win here 5 years to the day. September the 5th, 2002. Mike Gregory's Wigan beat Ian Millwood St Helens 28 points to 4, and they squelched their way out onto the pitch because the conditions here have been absolutely appalling all day, as I know they have been elsewhere in the country. Great Britain is under a deluge at the moment. Looks like it's leaking in the St Helens dressing room as well. We can't really see them, but they are in there. Can they claim their second trophy in a week? And for this man, Daniel Anderson, a fourth league leaders' shield in a row, and a real family affair here tonight, because Daniel Anderson's children, there they are, Alana, Heather, Cooper and Spencer, are the match day mascots tonight. They're being brought out by Willie Tallow and John Wilkin, who are celebrating their 150th appearances, each of them. There is the skipper though, Kieran Cunningham, appearance number 435 for him. As I say, a real family affair about this place tonight. There's one young lady, Pat Fuller, who's celebrating her 70th birthday and her 50th wedding anniversary. She would normally be here, but she's at home. Apparently she's got a broken arm. But she is watching live with us tonight on Sky Sports. On Sky Sports 1 and in high definition on HD1, that's channel 408. And there are the youngsters with Willie Tallow and John Wilkin, Daniel Anderson's youngsters, Alana, Heather, Cooper and Spencer. A big night for them, and it's a big night for this fellow as well, Ashley Klein, the match referee. As the heavens open again here, the conditions will be trying for the two sets of supporters, trying for the two sets of players. But before all that, we have a minute's silence, because Derek Jones, who is the St Helens club masseur, last week his wife Marilyn died in tragic circumstances. Derek didn't go to Wembley with the team, but he is here tonight for the match against Wigan, and the crowd before the game will stand in a minute's silence of respect for her.
The Saints players and staff ask you to join them in paying respect to Marilyn Jones, wife of Saints masseur Derek Jones, who sadly died last Friday. The thoughts of everyone at the club are with Derek and his daughter Laura, who now ask you to help us observe a minute's silence in memory of Marilyn Jones.
Silence here, impeccably observed. So the league leaders' shield's up for grabs now. Can St Helens claim it, and with it, of course, pole position heading into those playoffs next week?
I think the attitude within the camp, Eddie, was epitomised on Monday when Daniel Anderson suggested that maybe he could rest a few of his players, and every single one said, no, we want to be involved in this game, and why not against their arch rivals, Wigan. Hold on to your seats, because this is going to be a belter of a match.
Coley takes the first tackle for Wigan. The kick-off from Paul Wellens, interestingly and probably predictably, all along the surface, and asking Wigan to work the ball away from their own line. There was almost a little knock-on in the last player in the ball there. The ball certainly came out of the hands of the grounded player, but he picked it up before it hit the deck.
Pretty good tackle there from Fozzard. There's what could have been a knock-on. Did well to hang on to it, Carmont.
Might easily have been a penalty, actually, to Wigan, that.
Well, was there two men involved in the tackle? It was reached out. Oh, good footwork there by Paul Wellens. The big thing for Wigan tonight, they've got to really muscle up. They've averaged a defeat against St Helens 3 times this season, just under 50 points per game, and they can't afford to allow St Helens. Okay, it's bad conditions tonight, but they still have the ability of Saints to break any defence, and that's where Wigan, they've got to make sure they muscle up, though they've given away a silly penalty. Offside, coming in a little bit too quick there. Joel Tompkins. And you can see 3 or 4 on the right-hand side of the official, Ashley Klein. Tompkins being one of them.
First penalty of the match then goes St Helens' way. The ball dumped midway inside the Wigan half of the field, and St Helens will come again here with James Graham. Magnificent season James Graham has had in 2008. 23 next week. He's having the time of his life this year, and here is John Wilkin, one of those 2 players with 150 St Helens appearances under their belts now. Sean Long, and there is Roby trying to chink his way past the Wigan defence, halted by Harrison Hansen and Mickey Hyam. Cunningham at dummy half. This is the 4th tackle. Fozzard took that in the air. They're inching ever closer to that Wigan line. Cunningham waits for the ball to be played to him. There is Cunningham, and Wigan alert to the danger, and he is held standing up. That's the last one. Roby at dummy half as Cunningham plays the ball to him. Back it comes to Long. Long fires it wide to Tallow. Tallow was nearly under 1 tackle, got the ball back in the field of play. No, he wasn't. The flag goes up. That's good defence from Wigan over on that far side.
Was it ever? Look at the tackle from Trent Barrett. Bang! Got his upper body right underneath into the rib cage and made sure he was going over the whitewash. They mean business tonight to the Warriors.
Very important there for Wigan, Mike, to hold out on that set. It's where you don't want to be, defending your try line very early on in the game against St Helens, and they held it out manfully. Interesting to see on the previous set, St Helens dropped their wingers back very early. Fortune favours Wigan there, penalty in their favour. And because once you complete the set against St Helens, you get the double whammy, because the wingers had dropped back with Paul Wellens and they'd return the ball on you. So they got the luck of the draw on that one.
Aidy Gardner going too high on George Carmont. That's why Wigan have this penalty. And Richards gives it to Fielden, and Stuart Fielden drives it in. First tackle this latest set of 6 for the Wigan Warriors. All square in the penalty count, 1 apiece. Coley for Wigan here. Up the middle he goes. Oh, the ball has come away from him. He tried to offload that in an impossible situation. I think the referee will bring him back for the first knock-on here.
No real advantage to it. Well, in these conditions, you would try not to do things like that. Wigan fans thought that perhaps he was being aided to have the ball, but you could see quite clearly that he was shaping to offload.
I think it's a Wigan head and feed, this, because the referee had allowed St Helens the advantage, and then they lost the ball in the next passage of play. It is Wigan's head and feet.
Oh, a bit of action in the front row as well from the scrum. You very rarely see that.
Mathers plays the ball to Luluai. Here is Harrison Hansen, spins away from Cunningham, but can't get away from Fozzard. Hyam, the dummy half for Wigan, finds Trent Barrett. Barrett short ball to Bailey.
That's what they've got to do. They've got to make sure that Thomas Luluai, Trent Barrett, they've got to be buzzing out there.
Not the best pass, but it finds its way to Mathers. Mathers will slide it down the line, looking for Pat Richards. Work here for Wellens to do, and Wellens will just run the ball over the dead ball line. It's a goal line dropout.
They'll be pretty happy with that, Wigan, and Brian Noble especially. Good build-up, good hard solid work, got them into a position. Not perhaps the man that should have been there for the kick, the fullback Richie Mathers, but it was a good one. The chase was equal to the kick. Wellens had no option but to step out.
Referee held the clock up because Paul Wellens just threw the ball away. That's not the best goal line dropout from him. It was a bit of a scuff by Wellens, and straight into the arms of Carmont here. This is pressure coming in for Wigan with Harris and Hansen.
Eddie, I think that's the first example of the pitch taking effect. Paul Wellens would normally get 50 metres with that kick, but there's almost a pool of water from which to try and dig the ball out.
This is Andy Coley here for the Wigan Warriors. Not tempted this time to try and smuggle the ball away when there are three men around him in the tackle. Hyam at dummy half. He fires the ball to Trent Barrett. Barrett then passes it on the inside to Bailey. Spins away from a couple, does Bailey.
Good inside running on the angle from Bailey. You can see the water splashing up as they play the ball.
This is Richie Mathers. They've got numbers here, Wigan. It's Carmont. Good defence though from Aidy Gardner.
Took a gamble, did winger. Gardner came off the whitewash.
Harrison Hansen to Thomas Lulawai. There's the kick to the in-goal area. And it's bouncing around all over the shop, and it's another goal line dropout coming up here for St Helens to get rid of.
Tremendous pressure. That's what they needed.
Here's the last goal line dropout.
It just didn't bounce. It just stuck there like a Yorkshire pudding that's been out in the sun for about 2 days.
A Yorkshire pudding that's been out in the rain for about 2 days, sadly, Steve-O, at the moment. The rain absolutely siling down again here. The second goal line dropout that Wigan have forced in the opening 6 minutes. Good start from them. Drive forward here by Stuart Fielden.
It's amazing, Eddie, how you feel. You know, is that tackle from Trent Barrett
Great run from Hyam
that stopped St Helens from scoring, and that things like that just lift your game.
It's Trent Barrett again here. He just drops the shoulder. Barrett looking for the line. Three are there to bring him down. Wellens just working him a little bit on the floor. It's Hyam. Back he comes to Richie Mathers. Through one challenge from Cunningham. Can't get away from Flannery though. Last tackle here for Wigan. All this pressure they could do with a try. It's with Barrett. Barrett all along the deck.
Oh, it's in on the chance.
No, it's into the arms of Francis Melly. Francis Melly. He's got to beat Richards. He finds Wilkin. And Carmont gets back to cover him.
Tremendous rugby league from both sides. Could have been a penalty. Held him down there. Melly didn't want to be hanging around. This is absolutely wonderful playing.
Penalty, offside underneath the sticks to St Helens.
Well, it was a wonderful kick from Thomas Lulawai. It was spinning all over the place. Sorry, it was Barrett that put it in. And it came off. Well, Darryl Goulding couldn't believe it. It just tipped off his right boot. Could have gone anywhere. And the winger raced away 50 metres.
Conditions playing their part here as Cunningham's
Oh, Cunningham's on to go with Mickey Hyam.
Cunningham's pass only just making it then also to the St Helens player. Here comes Wilkin.
Mickey moves, that's all right.
Mickey Hyam and Kieran Cunningham. It was a master and apprentice when they were both here at this club. Long gets it to Roby. And Roby is held up just short.
Well, Trent Barrett's working overtime. Again, a try stopper.
Long again. Goes wide. Interception from Carmont this time. Carmont can't get away though from Matt Gidley.
Has anybody told these two sides, all the players, it's raining, it's wet out there?
Lulawai running laterally now is straightened up. But now gets the penalty. James Graham. Offside, says the referee. And he says, me?
I'll tell you what we've seen, Mike, from both sides is great try-line defence. They're not really, great break from Francis Melly. He's away, he's not got the pace to go full length on his own. Great cover back from Wigan. But look, you've got men pushing up off that try-line. That's great line defence. They're taking away thinking time, and the penalty now puts Wigan back on the front foot.
And you probably noticed there, Eddie, is the fact that the wind is to the advantage of Wigan in this first half. It really is a gale force wind out there. Massive 60-metre kick downfield.
And Wigan get another penalty for offside against St Helens right in front of the sticks.
I'd tap it. In the mood that the Warriors are in, I would tap this. Forget about the two.
And that looks like what Mickey Heim is going to do. He does. He gives it to Andy Coley. I'll tell you what, in 9 minutes we've seen, 2 or 3 interceptions. We're having an interception-a-thon tonight. It's Mathers. Good defence. Ruby. He wasn't going anywhere then. Barrett pops it up for Coley.
Got to utilise the dummy runners, Wigan. That's one of them they've used.
This is Barrett. Plays the ball to Luluai. Luluai over the ground. He played. It was Gilmore. And he's just hauled back short of the line by Wellens. Last tackle here for Wigan. And here now is Harrison Hansen. Still the last tackle. Hansen. Oh, they went for the power play. Great work from Cunningham.
I don't think you realise. Blood streaming down his left eyebrow. In the background, there's the 2 hookers. Any love lost there? No.
St Helens trying to get the ball away from their own line. Lee Gilmore is limping in back play. Problem for the St Helens second rower. Here, meanwhile, is Nick Fozzard. On his way to Hulkingston Rovers for 2009, Nick Fozzard. This is Graham. He's going nowhere. Cunningham to Long, a 40-20 attempt from Sean Long. Just stuck in the heavy going there. Mathers was able to pick it up. That's a great chase by Wilkin.
It's a great advantage when you've got a back 3 that really do fight. Every time Sean Long gets the ball in his hand, they know where he's going to kick. They know they've got to get down there quickly. But this is good play by Wigan. Only the 3rd tackle. They're nearly to the halfway line. And I mentioned the fact that this wind is going to help them in the first 40.
Need to get some points on the board, though, if they are to be serious contenders here tonight with all this pressure in the opening 12 minutes. Hyam to Barrett, who hoists the kick, and that will be travel forward on the wind. Gardner is underneath it. He took that well, but he was from the field of play. He was tackled in the in-goal area, and it's another goal line dropout here. Wonderful play from Richards. The 3rd goal line dropout coming up. Great kick from him.
It was going into the backspin as well. He did well, that Eddie Gardner. You know, a couple of seasons ago, Eddie Gardner would have been under a lot of trouble on that. That's the one thing that Daniel Anderson, the Saints coach, has really worked hard on, to make sure that Gardner is solid underneath the bomb.
Key is Mikey got there early. He was underneath the ball. He wasn't going up pace trying to catch that ball in difficult circumstances. He gets himself right underneath it, and it was a fantastic kick from Trent Barrett, and it needed someone to be able to take that ball and just dissolve the play.
Play being held up for a moment because Harrison Hansen, as you can see, is being sent from the field of play by the referee, not for any indiscretion, but for the fact that he's got blood pumping from his left eye. Meanwhile, nothing changes at the top of the table, 0-0 at Wakefield.
Just make sure you're aware of that shout.
And nothing changes here because St Helens find themselves in another position, drop out from underneath the sticks.
Luluai leaves the field, so is replaced by Liam Colbon. Better goal line dropout this time from Wellens, but it didn't get that much length because of the wind. But what a chase by Gilmore.
It's okay. 2. Move!
Mickey Heim wakes the dummy half. Fielden's the runner for Wigan.
3 now!
Good tackle it had to be as well.
There's a penalty. Cunningham was the 3rd man in, just trying to slow the Wigan play the ball down.
Well, he might have a little word with one of the captains here.
Oh, there.
Respectively, Kieran Cunningham.
That's Andy Coley for Wigan now. Hyam waits at dummy half, gets the ball, gives it to Luluai. Luluai to Barrett. Barrett just a little dummy, taking on Wilkin. Barrett looks up for this, doesn't he? It's his last Saints-Wigan confrontation. Goes back home at the end of the season. Of course, it all depends on the complexities of the playoffs, whether they will meet for a 5th time this year, but maybe not. This is Mathers. That's a good ball to Richards. He was through Gardner, but the reinforcements were there. Wellens and Long. Richards would play the ball to Carmont. Carmont finds Mathers. Mathers then in field to field it. It was a standing start for the prop forward, and that's the last one.
You talk about control defence, and that is what St Helens have produced so far.
Off the feet of Roby, he picks it up.
That was a wonderful sixth set in defence from St Helens. Not one player came out of the line. They moved as a unit. They was as solid as a brick wall.
Good tackling there as Cunningham makes his way off the field for St Helens. Sean Long waits at dummy half as Roby plays the ball to him. Here is James Graham. Eastmond is on for Cunningham. Last tackle for St Helens. Still inside their own half. Long will hump the ball downfield. Catches in the breeze though. It's easy for Mathers. He gives it to Cameron Phelps.
Noticeably, St Helens kicking to their left-hand side, the Wigan right, with Phelps and Richie Mathers, both right-handers, so they lose the fend, they lose the handoff when they're bringing the ball back, thus making it an easier tackle for St Helens.
Well, Wigan have certainly dominated it in terms of possession, but it stays at 0-0.
And I don't think Wigan have played this well for 15 minutes this season without scoring a point, Eddie. They have got this game in control at the moment. Cunningham has left the field. I think it's been an injury because the physio came onto him twice prior to him leaving the field. They've got complete control. They've brought on one of the big guns who can punch them all through the line now. Palliasino about to play the ball. Can they convert some of this dominance into some points on the scoreboard and maintain their focus and concentration?
Great take in the air by Long under pressure. First from Richards, also his own man, and then George Carmel.
Well, they're throwing everything but the kitchen sink at St Helens, and I must say, they're in full control. There you see Wakefield have taken the lead, 2-0 over Leeds. It's boiling up to be an interesting Friday night.
It is going to be an interesting Friday night, there's no doubt about that. This is Fozzar. But a big hit then, Palliasina and Fielden.
I thought maybe Fozzard may have just lost control of that. This is power play from the Wigan defenders. I'm with you, Phil. I don't think I've seen Wigan as fired up for this for a long time.
Long with another punt downfield. Let's get news of Kieran Cunningham's injury, Bill.
It is an injury because normally Kieran Cunningham would be spelled, but he's gone straight to the dressing room accompanied by the team doctor. So whether Kieran Cunningham has picked up a knock, we'll try and find out. Harrison Hansen certainly has. He's in the dressing room. I think he's going to need some stitches on a nasty gash above his eye.
I was wondering whether that push and shove with Mickey Hyam has anything to do with Cunningham off the field at the moment.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, but I anticipated that the skipper, Kieran Cunningham, would be playing a lot longer than the 13 minutes that he did.
Great kick that from Barrett, but it's just going to skip away.
Ooh, only just as well. Well, these conditions, you would have thought it was going to be barge, barge, barge. Look how the ball can just bounce anywhere, just went over the whitewash at the vital moment. But they are serving up a fantastic game of rugby league. It's rough, it's tough in the forwards, and the skill factor is outstanding.
The conditions don't inhibit play at this level, Mike, do they? Just present a different challenge. You know, we've seen a varied kicking game from Wigan, more than St Helens. St Helens have just gone with Sean Long so far. We've had Trent Barrett and Thomas Luluai kicking for the Wigan Warriors, and both have had more success by putting the ball in the air than they have on the ground.
Referee has given Wigan a little bit of latitude in the previous tackle or two, but it was too slow getting off Lee Gilmore here.
Well,
Bailey, the man penalised.
Bailey took an eternity to get on that, and but for 17 minutes they've got away with it. Obviously a ploy by their coach Brian Noble. We know the quality of St Helens, especially from the dummy half position. Of course, they're negated by the fact that Kieran Cunningham is off, but they've still got Roby out there. There he is at dummy half.
He is. He gives the ball to Long. It opens up suddenly for John Wilkin.
Just looked the wrong way.
James Graham is going after Palliasino here, Eddie. I think Palliasino could be in big trouble. It was a very late and deliberate tackle on Graham, who was sent as a decoy, and then Graham got up off his feet and headed straight for the big fella.
Well, the referee blew the whistle long before this, and he's blown it again now, trying to separate them. James Graham is angry about something, and he went straight for Palliasini, you're right. And he's holding his jaw a little ruefully, James Graham.
Well, Palliasini, he definitely took him out. Watch it there. Was it legal? That's a big question. Probably see it better head on. Oh. Was that a shoulder charge? It was a shoulder charge, but he didn't have the ball.
James Graham coming as a lead runner. Palliasini looking to take him out. That's a shoulder barge. I don't think he needs to leave the field for that.
No.
It's the wrong tackle.
It's worth the penalty.
I think James Graham is in the sin bin.
Well, obviously, the referee, Ashley Klein, has decided that Palliasini had done nothing wrong in regards to his eyes because he was committed into the tackle, and because Graham tried to take things into his own hands, he has suffered the sin bin, and the referee has got it spot on. He's not happy.
Well, he's probably done James Graham a favour in one way, but you will not convince the crowd here that he has done the St Helens team a favour. Anyway, Murray Foster-Lou replaces him. It's boiling at Knowsley Road in the rain as Eastman gives a short ball to Wellens. Ooh, you nearly got the return as well from Wellens, who thought better of it.
Now, which side is going to calm down and concentrate on playing?
Oh, intercepted by Luluai. And here goes Pat Richards.
Good work by Gardner. Tremendous stuff. It had to be as well. I tell you what, Eddie, everything's going absolutely berserk here. Palliasini's being booed every time he gets the ball.
Hyam and Barrett. Good run from Barrett. Good defence from Foster-Lou and Wilkin. Here's Fielden. Lost the ball. Wilkin has it for St Helens.
Wasn't the best pass to Fielden. He had to reach behind it. Oh, this is getting tasty. And now we've got a penalty. And Mr. Palliasini is not the most popular bloke on the planet at the moment.
Well, he's given a flop for this.
Yeah, because the tackle's complete and he goes again to try and slow down the rope.
The referee's spot on, but he's fired up. The crowd is. Graham's having a look to see whether there's any damage to the jaw. Well, to be fair, having seen the replay, I don't think he made contact with the jaw, but that may have been before, or who knows.
It's all been a little bit tasty. I thought the referee made the right decision. It was a late shoulder barge, and you cannot have players running out the line to remonstrate. It's a big derby. That could have gone awfully wrong.
There's the dangerous tackle. That's why St Helens have the latest penalty. The one nagging fear I've got at the back of my mind for James Graham is they are checking his jaw, they're checking all his problems. The World Cup's coming up and he missed the Tri-Nations in 2006. Bill, what's the news?
Yeah, real concern on the sidelines about the fitness of James Graham. Daniel Anderson was down at the dugout having a look at the injury himself alongside the team doctor. They've now all gone to the dressing room, and as he came off the field, the swelling was coming up on the cheekbone. He's obviously taken an impact there, and there is a bit of fury on the sidelines here as far as the Saints are concerned.
This is just a few moments ago, the doctor and the coach having a word with James Graham, and I'm sure the conversation is not about let's calm you down, get inside that dressing room, calm yourself down. It's all about that jaw. Now, we've heard that Willie Mason is out of the World Cup today, and Sam Burgess is out of the World Cup for England. That, of course, we've known about for a week or two. Let's hope and pray that James Graham is going to go.
I'm with you, Eddie. I really am. And he's lost the ball.
Knock on from Palliasini.
And Flannery gets all the plaudits. A big grin on the face of the big fella. And the crowd go berserk here. St Helens fans there.
It it was Roby who knocked the ball out.
Look at the smile on the faces. It's still 0-0. But boy, we've had so much action. It could have been 16 each.
Big test on this set now for the Wigan Warriors. Kieran Cunningham off the field, James Graham off the field. They've given the ball away, they've now got to defend within their own quarter.
And Carmon.
Oh, that looked high.
Well, as Gilmore fell, he certainly had him round the neck. Here is Long. Long to Eastman. Oh, and St Helens overcooking the pudding a bit.
He came a bit too early there, Paul Wellens. Eastman knew exactly he was going to come back on the inside. That's why he put the flick on. But you could see there that Wellens had just stepped about a metre in front. He's frustrated with himself. And this Wigan defence, that is what they are doing to the mighty Saints. They're crunching them.
I think Kyle Eastman needs to get tackled with the ball. He's come on as a substitute in the most intense and hostile derby match I can remember for quite some time. And he just looks as though he needs to be tackled with the ball, make a little bit of contact, and I think then he'll settle into the game. But at the moment, he's been responsible for 1 or 2 nervous plays.
Big boots to fill. Big boots to fill, trying to run the lines at the pace that Leon Price does.
And also, let's not forget, he's only 19 years of age. He scored a sensational try here on Good Friday against the Wigan Warriors. But he's playing at the moment like the ball's red hot. Here's a penalty now for Wigan. And we've had 11 penalties from Ashley Klein.
Well, after so many, surely the official, it's been, I think there's what, 7 from offside or something of that nature?
Well, James Graham's back out. That's good news, because he's in the sin bin, but he's back out there and looks like everything's working okay. Just put the gum shield in.
It'll be interesting when he retains his position on the field of play.
Paliacina. Down he goes under the challenge from Roby and Gilmore. This is Bailey. Good ball from him. That is Goulding. Melly was underneath the tackle. Roby fires the pass to Luluai. Here is Barrett. Barrett then gives it to Carmont. Oh, lovely football from Carmont. Brilliant try from George Carmont. Wigan hit the front. George Carmont with the try. He has been Wigan's outstanding player all year, and he has just proved then what a wonderful acquisition he's been for this club. Fantastic footwork from Wigan, and George Carmont sorted out the St Helens defence one way and then the other. It all opened up for him, and he had the strength to get over the top of the last defender, and that's the opening try. That's been coming a while.
It certainly has, and great relief for the coach Brian Noble, because they know they've had good position, plenty of possession. Beautiful step here, back on the inside. Wellens tried to knock his head off as he stepped on this left foot. Barrett just timed it right, and you could see how the Saints defence drifted across. It was no good Wellens going for the legs, as he would have just reached over, but he just battled him out of the way. And I'm with you, Eddie. He has been the hero at the JJB Stadium this year. What a tremendous purchase, George Carmont. And Deadeye Dick here, Pat Richards. Surely this will be an easy one. It is wet out there.
It is, and no night for kickers, but you would think that Super League's top point scorer would knock this over. 261 points so far for Pat Richards. That makes it 263 for him. But more importantly, it's 6-0 to the Wigan Warriors here at St Helens, a ground on which they haven't won in 5 years.
And the most important factor, psychologically, they knew they had to get a try on the board. And this man has provided it, because this wind is going to be a huge advantage to St Helens in the second half. It surprised me that Wigan have not attempted a 40-20 as yet. I think we'll find it from Saints in the second stanza.
Well, this match tonight, of course, will be eagerly anticipated by the Leeds Rhinos and their supporters there at Wakefield. The last we heard from them is that Wakefield are ahead 2-0. Wigan now lead 6-0, and of course this will have implications lower down the scale for Warrington and Bradford. So it'll be an interesting last weekend of the season. St Helens penalised here for not standing square. And more news from Bill
But James Graham's time in the sin bin is just about up, and he is actually out on the sidelines now. They're still checking on him, and I have to say that a bit of the anger has calmed down here. There was certainly a lot in the air when he came off the field, and they were checking on him, but it looks as though he's okay to go back on, which is good news for them. Kieran Cunningham out of the dressing room as well. Some mystery as to whether he has picked up a knock.
Thanks, Bill. As I say, there was probably a good move for James Graham personally when he was sent to the sin bin, because it would certainly take the heat out of the situation. But as you say, Steve-O, interesting. Oh, how about that from Barrett? It is a try here from Tompkins. Wigan have suddenly stretched the lead to 10. Wonderful pass from Trent Barrett. Open up the St Helens defence, and Joel Tompkins. 11th try of the season. Only Joe Westerman and James Roby as forwards have got more tries than this young man this year. And Joel Tompkins makes it a 10-point lead for Wigan here at St Helens.
Well, you guarantee that the former Australian great standoff Trent Barrett wanted to leave this country on a high. He produced the pass that got Carmont over, and he's done it yet again. It was a wonderful across-the-man pass. They thought he was going to do the short one. Watch for the dummy come through here. Is he going to get it? No. It's Tompkins out wide. Wonderful position. Great combination. He came at the right moment. Oh, they're on the rack of the Saints.
They are, and Pat Richards here from bang in front. This will be 12-0 in a moment. Richards doesn't miss those. It's St Helens 0, Wigan 12. Suddenly it's gone a little quiet. Tompkins with a try, only 21 years of age. And, well, St Helens, they have been virtually all season, 6 apiece, by the way, at Bellevue now. St Helens have been the least penalised side all year in the Engage Super League, but they've conceded 6 in the opening half hour here tonight. James Graham is back out of the sin bin and out there.
The biggest problem for Saints at the moment is they're giving away far too many penalties. Offside, not standing square, they're getting excited. They've been ruffled. Wigan's tactics, Palliatina brings the biggest cheer of the night so far.
I tell you what, he had to look out the side of his eye there, and he saw James Graham coming at him like an express train.
Here he comes.
Who is there? Bang! Graham was given first man in.
I think Mr. Graham was disappointed that he dropped it. He's still got half a shot on. You know, when you spoke about Daniel Anderson just checking out to see whether, obviously to see whether Graham's jaw was okay, Eddie. I think he would have also have said, hey, listen, you're a quality player now, calm down.
That's the way it looks at the moment in the Super League up at the top. Saints hanging on to the League Leaders' Shield by a point. The points difference, of course, will come into it if Saints lose here, if Leeds win at Wakefield. But I tell you what, they will have to they'll have to win pretty big leads at Wakefield if Wigan win here. All to play for. Eastman.
You know, the biggest advantage...
Oh, another penalty. Well, the referee shouted twice and 3 times, play on, and that's why Mathers came in for the extra tackle there. Graham! They're taking it quickly, St Helens.
I'm just trying to say, Daniel Anderson's big advantage for the 4 years, Eddie, is the fact that when they're under a little bit of pressure, he can throw out Kieran Cunningham. He can't now. It looks like he's injured.
They're asking for a knock-on against St Helens there, Wigan. It didn't come. And that could have been an obstruction. That could have been an obstruction. But that is Cameron Phelps, who is tidying things up at the back for Wigan. A goal line dropout now for them. There's a couple of things to look at there.
They'll be happy with that as well. Did he lose it? Yes, he did. And then he got it back. He went backwards. That's fair play.
Paul Clough it was.
Mathers is saying, hang on. To the judge here on the near side, but it did go backwards, so that was play on.
And the referee having a little word in the ear of Trent Barrett, who obviously he's maybe queried the decision.
The official's spot on. Now then, with this wind behind him, it should go way downfield, and it does.
backwards.
Gets away with that, Paul Wellens, because he was facing his own sticks. Here comes James Graham.
It's okay.
Oh, it's across the shoulder, does Mr. Klein.
This is Bryn Hargreaves.
2.
Well, James Graham must be wondering, he's right, but he finished up under the neck eventually.
Hands into the ruck.
Too long, Joel.
Tompkins penalised. Interference, messing around. 8-6 the penalty count now.
Well, he's certainly been active with the whistle tonight, Ashley Klein, and
Short, keep it tight.
every single one of them, he's had the opportunity to do the right thing.
He doesn't miss much, and he's had enough scope tonight, hasn't he? That was a definite hand in, and Wigan just simply didn't need it. They were in control, the line was set, should have got off.
Roby to Long. Here is Eastman. Gives it to Wellens. Wellens gives it to Flannery.
2.
Good tackle by Carmont. It's Wellens. It's Gidley now. Gidley attacking that line.
That's amazing. Very rarely you see Gidley coming to the centre field.
Roby slipping at the wrong time. Takes the tackle from Stuart Fielden. Frustration from the coach, Daniel Anderson. Gidley and Long. Sean Long! Good defence from Wigan. Scrambling defence. This is the last tackle.
Got to be a good kick into the in goal.
Eastman stabs the ball in. Bounces off the ankles of Colbon. Referee says knock on. Referee says knock on. No try.
There's no need to check that one.
He's uptight, Daniel Anderson.
But they played out it, so 6 more. And then you knocked it on.
Not the best kick.
He played out it with his foot, and then you knocked it on.
Knock on.
Referee said he called 6 to go for St Helens, and then St Helens knocked it on. The ball was played at.
Eastman just gets a fingertip to it. Either way, it was stood in front. Could have been a penalty. Fluffs in front. Frustration for the coach.
Wide infield. Both hands. Oh, there, Carl.
Wakefield are ahead against Leeds at Bellevue. An upset there. Perhaps an upset here. Perhaps. Although, would you say Wigan beating St Helens is an upset? I suppose you would, in view of what's happened over the recent past in the Super League.
Well, I say I think it's 149 points that Saints have rattled up against Wigan in the 3 games so far this year. So yes, it would be classified as an upset, but they've come with the right tactics of the Warriors. Brian Noble knows how to pull aside and get them really up for it. And you've got to do the hard work, and they've just out-muscled the Saints forwards at the moment.
Bailey gets the ball away. Here is Harrison Hansen, all patched up and out of the blood bin. Last tackle here on the halfway line, Wigan. Ball comes to Barrett. He hoists it forward. That's a bit too deep, that one. Not the best from Mr. Barrett.
Well, any height, as I say, it'll just get whipped down with that strong wind. Now, St. Helens, they're the masters at tapping from the 20 and getting over the halfway line, so then they can control it when it gets to the final kick. They look a little bit lost at the moment.
Mentioned Wigan's poor record recently against St Helens. You know, they still boast a better record head-to-head against them in the Super League, incredibly, but the gap has narrowed recently. 22 Wigan wins prior to tonight, 20 for St Helens. I suppose you can say that's 22 and a half almost for Wigan. Right now, here is Long attacking the line.
Roby has to do a little bit... Oh, a silly play again.
Facial on the floor.
Roby has to start taking control and start running a little bit from dummy half, because it's virtually been put into a one-out situation for Saints. They've got to try to make the Wigan markers work overtime.
Here's an opportunity now for St Helens maybe to post some points in the 3 1/4 minutes immediately up to half-time.
That's the question from dummy half.
Roby gives it to Long. Long gives it to Wilkin on the diagonal run. Roby waits, inching towards the Wigan line of Saints with Roby, with Graham.
Again, good work from Barrett. Got the ball carrying arm from the big forward, Graham.
Nearly another interception by Goulding.
Boy, he would have been away. There was no one at home. Wellens was way over on the right-hand side in defence. That's what happens when you try to pass the ball without looking first. And the youngster Darryl Golding nearly raced away.
Arms around, guys.
St Helens with their own little proud record to defend here, because they have never failed to score a point so far in the first half of a match in Super League this year.
That is amazing, isn't it?
This is Eastman as it's 12-all at Wakefield. Not enough for Leeds, and Eastman now is hurt.
First tackle.
We'll have to get the slide rules out tonight, you know, to work out these points difference, won't we?
Well, I think it was 51, wasn't it, in the favour of Saints before
50, yeah, 50 and some, yeah.
before either kicked off.
Injury here to Kyle Eastman, so maybe we can have a little look at the way it is at the moment. There you are, Steve. Well, you do the maths. 471 minus 432. You can do that in an instant. Go on.
Yeah, 39.
But they're not in ahead yet in the match leads. They're still a point behind them on the league ladder.
Don't look so shocked.
This is Wellens. It's Paul Wellens. Almost through. Second tackle. Penalty. Holding down.
He could get sin-binned here. That was a professional foul by Phil Bailey. He's going to allow him to stay out in the field of play. Very fortunate, I feel.
Graham. Still Graham. Could force those four and the ball over the line.
Come on, Roby, go on your own.
Roby will give it to Long. Long to young Eastman. Eastman to Flannery.
Good move.
Can Wigan withstand this pressure? Eastman. Gidley. Matt Gidley. Oh, has he got this down?
He'll go to the screen on this.
He's bound to. It's a big decision. The first one tonight for Ian Smith.
They turned him. Has he got it down? They've turned him. Oh, that is difficult.
Benefit of doubt immediately comes to mind.
Well, Lulawai has gone right underneath.
What we missed up there, I missed.
Oh, and the touch judge's head's in the way.
And he ended up back up in a... Did he go back?
Oh, how are you going to select from that?
I just heard the touch judge whose head we just saw there saying that he thought that it was a knock-on.
Well, Lulawai's gone right underneath Gidley.
He can't see the ball.
I can't see the white ball at all. I know they say benefit of the doubt, but in whose favour?
Well,
Lulawai's
I'm sure
done
I heard the
magnificent.
touch judge say, I thought he'd knocked on.
Well, Lulawai has put his body on the line, gone right underneath, and the sheer momentum of his shoulder perhaps has dislodged the ball from the grasp of Matt Gidley. This is a vital video decision from Ian Smith. You're under pressure.
My opinion, it's held up.
How on earth can you get that? He's not down there, and you see the hands go underneath the ball. Lulawai then gets the shoulder. I don't think he's got it down.
But there's no sign of the ball anywhere.
No, but I don't think he's got it down.
Now, in the NRL, I think I'm right in saying they still have ref's call. They give it back to the referee and let him make the decision if the video ref can't come to conclusive evidence. But there is here benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, but in Lulawai's favour, I mean, it's a tremendous effort from the scrum half.
There's
No,
always
the benefit of the doubt
to
to the attacking side.
yeah.
No,
I think Thomas Lulawai deserves some credit here. He epitomises what Wigan have done in defence in this first half. With a minute to half-time, this could be a major turning point.
I'd give him the benefit, Phil, I really would.
The rules don't allow you to, though.
I know that, I'm appreciating that, but the fact is that I think that Lulawai has done enough to have this try. NO.
Well, let's see what Ian Smith says. The try is given, and it is benefit of the doubt. The ball, you see, the thing is, the ball didn't come free, did it? It was always within that collection of bodies, and that's why Gidley gets the vote, I think. A very difficult one, that, and it maintains this incredible record that Saints have. They have never turned round at half-time in the Engage Super League this year without having posted at least 1 point on the board, and they've done it again with 4 for Matt Gidley here.
And he's done it with just seconds remaining of the first half. He has been a quality buy, hasn't he? Wonderful, wonderful effort. But full credit there to Lulawai, went right underneath. You just can't see anything of the ball at all. He's been given that benefit of the doubt, and that is a huge lift for the Saints just before the half-time break. He'll take his time with Sean Long.
Well, he will, and
But he'll know it.
If you were watching Boots and All on Wednesday, you'll know we announced the fact that the Rugby Football League are trying an experiment in the non-televised Hull derby at the weekend. They're going to have, as Long takes this kick at goal and plunks the ball off the post over the top of the bar. It's 6-12, but Wigan's still ahead. They're going to have 3 cameras at Craven Park on Sunday, 1 at each end and 1 up on the top. On that decision alone, we have used 5 cameras, and we still couldn't come up really with a conclusive decision. But Ian Smith had to say he had to give benefit of the doubt to the attacking side. Best of luck, and it's Ashley Klein, by the way, who's the video referee at Craven Park on Sunday.